I came home early from a business trip and saw my wife, Lily, having dinner with some guy in the restaurant downstairs. I watched them for 20 minutes before walking in and pulling her to her feet. The man started shouting at me. "What the hell do you think you're doing? Don't you touch her." I didn't waste time with words. By the time I was done, his face was a bloody mess. Lily was screaming, trying to pull me off him, and caught a few backhand for her trouble. He was curled up on the floor, a pathetic heap. "I'm Ryan Sterling." "You son of a bitch," he managed to scream. "You better stop right now. Even Captain America couldn't save you tonight." I drew my foot back and kicked. Hard. Ag. He clutched his groin, his eyes wide and bulging as a film of cold sweat broke out on his forehead. In the end, it was Lily clinging to me, holding me back with all her strength, that gave him the chance to scramble away. Lily swore it was just a business dinner. But for those 20 minutes, I'd watched them. The way he leaned in, the way she laughed. It was intimate. My rage had nowhere to go. I wanted to strangle her. 6 years ago, Lily and I started at the same insurance firm on the same day. I fell for her instantly. We dated for 3 years and have been married for 3. For 6 years, I treated her like a queen. I never thought this day would come. Right now, I hate her. Who the hell is he? Faced with my fury, Lily didn't dare lie. The man's name was Ryan Sterling, a client at the insurance company. She'd known him for all of 5 days. 5 damn days. What did our 6 years mean then? My devotion was a joke. He bought a $500,000 policy from me, Lily sobbed. I froze, and then the pieces clicked into place. Ryan Sterling had a face like a horse and the charm of a gargoyle. There was no way Lily would be interested in him for his looks. This wasn't just some guy with money. $500,000. That was my goal for the next few years of grinding. No wonder some women would rather cry in a BMW than smile on a bicycle. The bitterness was a physical taste in my mouth. Lily told me this Sterling guy was from New York. Not only did he throw money around like it was nothing, but he was arrogant as hell. He had to be from a major family. Sterling. I thought of the Sterling Corporation in New York, one of the biggest commercial giants in the country. Their CEO was Arthur Sterling, an old man. I'd never heard of a Ryan Sterling. Just another spoiled, rich kid coasting on the family name. Lily cried harder, insisting she'd done nothing wrong, that she only agreed to dinner for the sake of her career. "Honey, I was just trying to earn more money. You know, for our dream. For the house." I spat the words at her. "You're a hypocrite. You don't get to talk about love." "No, that's not it," she pleaded, her voice frantic. "I thought you were still out of town, and I had the time. It was just one dinner." I laughed, a harsh, ugly sound. "And when he put his hands on you, what about that?" She swore up and down that she was faithful to me. But what did it matter? She was willing to play along, to swallow her pride for a commission check. Even if we became billionaires, could we ever be happy after this? I grew up in a single-parent household. My dad has always lived with us. Our place is in an old, rundown complex in a working-class neighborhood. Lily never got used to it, and she especially hated living with my dad. I understood her perspective, but reality was a harsh mistress. Dad has silicosis from his years in construction. He needs an oxygen concentrator to get by. The machine is ancient, and it makes a loud, rattling noise when it's running. At night, it's impossible to ignore. Lily is a light sleeper and could never get a full night's rest. I felt a crushing guilt over it. I worked myself to the bone every single day, becoming the top salesman in the company, all so we could buy our own place sooner. "We'll buy a condo in that new development nearby," she'd said once, her arms wrapped around my neck. "That way, it'll be easy to check in on your dad." Then she'd whispered, "And then I want to try doing it in every room, from the living room to the bedroom. Think you can handle that?" Talk of the new house always made her giddy, and she'd tease me, making me feel like a bull ready to charge, driving me to work even harder. Sometimes, though, she'd complain. "If only your mom hadn't left, things would be so much better." A knot would tighten in my stomach, and I'd push back. "You've never had a mother-in-law. You might have hated it. It could have been a nightmare." "Honey, a client like Ryan Sterling is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Please, please, just forgive me this one time." Her begging snapped me out of my thoughts. I looked down at my wife, kneeling on the floor. Waves of hatred crashed against my heart, over and over. "Let's get a divorce," I said, my voice flat. "We're done." I left her there and walked out. 3 that same day, I volunteered for a short-term project that required travel. I just needed to get away. Lily kept calling, so I blocked her number. Then she started texting me from a new one. Honey, you really hurt Ryan. I think you might have done permanent damage. I'm so scared he's going to press charges. I read the text and let out a cold laugh. My only regret was that I hadn't kicked him harder. I should have ended him, saved some other poor woman the trouble. But Sterling never called the cops, which didn't surprise me. A story like this getting out would be a massive humiliation for him. For guys like that, saving face is more important than anything. When I got back from the trip, I decided to quit. The first person I had to tell was Vince Carter. He was my manager, but he was also my friend. After what happened with Lily, I couldn't stand the thought of seeing her in the office every day. Bam! After I told him the whole story, Vince slammed his hand on his desk, his face red with anger. You're my boy, Ethan, and you're the top salesman this company has. Why the hell should you be the one to quit? Just say the word, and I'll have Lily's ass out the door today, he roared. He had no filter, launching into a tirade about what a piece of trash Sterling was. His voice was so loud I could feel my cheeks burn. A few heads poked up over the cubicle walls, their eyes wide with curiosity. God knows how much they heard. Seeing him so worked up, I knew I hadn't been wrong to trust him. Vince was a stand-up guy. Still, this was my personal mess. It didn't need to get uglier. It's better if I go, I said. The company won't lose a major client that way. Client? Screw him. Vince shot back. I'll go to corporate right now and tell them we don't want his $500,000. He was adamant that I shouldn't quit, insisting he was going to make this right for me. You go home and rest for a couple of days, he said, clapping me on the shoulder. I'm taking this upstairs. I'll make sure you get justice. A part of me regretted telling him. This was on corporate now. The thought of it was mortifying. I almost told him to just forget it. But then I thought of Lily, and the raw hatred burned in my chest again. Fine. As long as she was more humiliated than I was, I'd feel better. It will be worth it. For I left the office and found a dive bar. I was deep in my third whiskey when the world went black. A bag was thrown over my head, and rough hands dragged me out. After a bumpy ride, the bag was ripped off. I was on a hill overlooking the city from a deserted industrial park. The late autumn wind was cold against my skin. The men in front of me were thugs, cracking their knuckles, smirking. This can't be good, I thought, and tried to speak. What do you want? I didn't finish the sentence before the first punch landed. They beat me senseless. My face was swollen, my lip was split, and the taste of my own blood filled my mouth. I was on my knees, my hands tied behind my back. There was nothing I could do. Then a black Mercedes sedan pulled up. The door opened, and a man stepped out, a smug grin plastered on his face as he walked toward me. So it's you. My blood boiled. Ryan Sterling, you son of a bitch. You actually came after me. Sterling spread his hands in mock confusion. I give your wife a $500,000 policy, and we have dinner. What's the big deal? He sneered. But you worthless piece of trash, instead of being grateful, you nearly castrated me. Tooey, he spit right in my face. Which foot was it? He said to his goons. Break it. A young punk with bleached blonde hair stepped forward, hefting a steel pipe. He swung. Thwack. An explosion of pure agony shot up my leg. Shit, it's not broken. Again. Thwack. Still not broken. Sterling was getting pissed. What? Did you skip breakfast this morning? The punk gritted his teeth and put everything he had into the next swing. Crack. My right shin bone bent at an unnatural angle. I bit down so hard I could taste the warm, metallic tang of blood seeping from between my teeth. A shard of bone tore through my pants, gleaming white in the moonlight. Even if 1,000 fire ants were chewing on the wound, I would not give him the satisfaction of hearing me scream. All right, not a peep. You're a tough guy. Sterling gave me a sarcastic thumbs up. Then he opened a briefcase. It was stuffed with cash. $500,000 right here, he said, his voice dripping with condescension. Bow your head to me, admit you were wrong, and it's all yours. How about it? Ha 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 ha. His laughter was wild, unhinged. $500,000 made your wife bend the knee. Now it's going to make you do the same. Sterling leaned in close, his face inches from mine. His thugs held me down, pinning me in place. I roared, my voice raw with hate. Ryan Sterling, fuck you. You want to fight? One-on-one. Let's go. Tisk, TSK, TSK. He took a couple of steps back, wiping my spittle from his cheek with a look of disgust. He held up one finger. When it comes to money, you lose. He held up a second. When it comes to connections, you lose. And a third. When it comes to manpower, you lose again. You're nothing compared to me, he said, his voice dropping to a low growl. On what grounds do you get to challenge me, one-on-one? The blonde punk started on me again, slapping me across the face. Slap. Another one. Slap. And another. Slap. I felt my teeth grinding together, my vision tunneling until all I could see was Sterling's mocking face. I repeated the same words over and over. One. On. One. He brushed some imaginary dust off his designer jacket. I'm heading back to New York in a couple of days, he said conversationally. If you want that one-on-one, you can come find me there. He paused, a cruel smile spreading across his face. But what are you going to do when you find me? A cripple? He stomped his foot down on my broken leg. His laughter echoed in the cold night air. The pain was immense, but my heart hurt more. The world faded to black. 5. I woke up in a hospital room. Lily was by my bedside, her face etched with worry. When she saw my eyes open, a flicker of relief crossed her face. You brought me here? She nodded gently, her voice full of pity. Honey, can we just let this go? You can't win against a man like Ryan. I started it. He hits on my wife, he breaks my leg, he destroys my dignity, and you're saying I'm the one who started it? I roared at her, my voice cracking. Lily, get the hell out. The only place I ever want to see you again is in divorce court. Lily bit her lip, a stubborn look hardening her features. If it wasn't for me, who would be taking care of you right now? Couples shouldn't hold grudges. Why do you have to be so stubborn? A bitter laugh escaped my lips. So what should I do? Turn a blind eye while you two get cozy. As I spoke, my eyes started to burn. I felt utterly pathetic, humiliated. My words hit their mark. The color drained from Lily's face. The room fell silent. After a long moment, she took a deep breath, composing herself. She told me the blonde punk who'd attacked me had turned himself in, taking full responsibility for everything. The kid was a career criminal. A little jail time meant nothing to him, and he had no money to pay for my medical bills. Ryan had a message for me to give you. He said it was all just for a laugh. The score is settled now. As long as you drop it, the whole thing is over. Lily hesitated, watching my reaction carefully. Go on. Let's hear what other filth is going to come out of your mouth. A flash of pain crossed her eyes. If you apologize to him, the $500,000 is still yours. It can pay for your surgery. I cut her off, my voice ice. Lily, you give a message back. This isn't over. Honey, I'm begging you. Don't do this. You can't win. Just then, a cough came from the doorway. Vince walked in, carrying a fruit basket. I immediately waved him over. Vince, get her out of here. Now. Vince and Lily exchanged a look. He seemed conflicted. Then he turned to me. Ethan, man, it's not that simple. I can see Lily knows she was wrong. You two have been solid for years. Don't let some rich asshole ruin everything. He patted my shoulder. A man's got to be forgiving. I stared up at him, stunned into angry silence. He quickly added, Lily's a good woman. A good woman? Are you kidding me? Vince, is this how you have my back? I was losing it. I wanted him out too. Vince gave a weak, apologetic smile and glanced at Lily. The policies she's written, it's over $2 million now. He explained that Ryan Sterling had added another massive policy that morning. The company's hands are tied. And your team, lead position. It's going to Lily. He saw the look on my face and quickly added that it was one of Sterling's conditions for signing the new policy. Lily, seeing my face turn pale with rage, rushed to placate me. She said a job was just about making money, that we shouldn't let it ruin our lives. I promise I will never see Ryan Sterling again. We can finally buy our house, honey. You should be happy. Yeah, Vince chimed in. Everyone has problems. You just got to forget it and move on. Vince was telling me to move on. Lily was telling me to move on. They love the money. They were both terrified of Ryan Sterling. But my leg is broken, I said, my voice dangerously quiet. You want me to be forgiving? You want me to forget? Is there any justice in that? Ethan, a little bit of what a guy like Sterling drops between his couch cushions is enough for you to live comfortably for years. Why be so stubborn? Vince, are you even my friend anymore? Telling me to be forgiving? It's easy to say when it's not your leg. You son of a bitch. Vince shuffled his feet and mumbled, well, it wouldn't happen to me. I'm still single. He added under his breath, But if he was into guys, maybe I'd consider it. Get out, you coward. I grabbed the pillow and hurled it at him, hitting him square in the mouth. I was blind to ever call you a friend. Get out. Tears welled in Lily's eyes. Honey, please don't be like this. I'm begging you. Get out. Both of you, get the hell out. I threw them both out of my room. My heart felt like a block of ice. 6 the next day, my dad got the news and came to the hospital to take care of me. He was a patient himself, with a portable oxygen tank slung over his shoulder. I hadn't wanted to tell him, but I couldn't hide being in the hospital forever. He was surprisingly calm. Ethan, you want to divorce her? I support you. Even though Lily had been vague, he'd figured out the gist of what happened. He wasn't angry, just disappointed in his daughter-in-law and heartbroken for me. Don't worry, he said quietly. There's justice in this world. He pulled out an old bank passbook and handed it to me. There's $7,000 in here. I was saving it to help you too with a down payment. Use it for your leg now. A lump formed in my throat. I tried to push it away. That won't even make a dent, Dad. You keep it. Don't give me that, son. The doctor just told me. They can put a plate in there, and you'll be able to walk without a cane. You're still young. You can't end up disabled. The doctor had mentioned that option, but the surgery cost $30,000, not including the follow-up care. That much? Maybe I should sell the house, Dad said. That old place isn't worth much. And where would we live? No, I'll just be a cripple then, I said through gritted teeth. But as soon as I'm out of here, he's not getting away with this. The mention of Sterling brought a flicker of fear to my father's eyes. He knew this guy was powerful, that picking a bigger fight would only end badly for me. Son, maybe you should let it go. The world has a way of balancing itself. He'll get what's coming to him. No, it's not over. I'm not letting it go. I had to fight him. 2 days later, I got a call. The company was terminating my contract. I got a severance check, but it was a drop in the bucket compared to what I needed. The medical bills were piling up, and next month, I'd have to pay for my own health insurance. And Sterling still wasn't gone. He came to the hospital to gloat. I hear you're not letting this go, he said, looking me over with a derisive smirk. You really want to go to war with me? His bodyguards filled the room, blocking my dad from getting in. Lily trailed behind Sterling, her expression tense and anxious. She kept darting nervous glances at him. She looked like a servant. Suddenly, Sterling pulled her into his arms. Lily's face flushed crimson. He shot me a look of pure contempt. I just laughed. You think that bothers me? You think I still give a damn about this woman? I shook my head slowly, my expression calm. Ryan, I don't care. She's all yours. When I get out of this hospital, I added, my voice low and even, I'm coming for you. He grunted, pushing Lily away, and stalked out of the room, clearly annoyed. Lily quickly straightened her clothes, unable to meet my eyes, and hurried out after him. As she passed my dad in the doorway, she whispered something to him. I couldn't hear what it was, but my dad's expression flickered. He started to follow her, then stopped. Whatever she said, it didn't matter. The divorce was happening. I lay in bed, staring blankly at the ceiling tiles, my mind a numb haze. I don't know how much time passed before my phone buzzed with a new message. It was a video from my dad. I opened it. My blood ran cold. It was in the hospital hallway. My dad was on his knees in front of Ryan Sterling, bowing his head to the floor in front of a crowd of people. He was apologizing, saying it was all my fault. Then Sterling opened a briefcase and dumped a cascade of $100 bills over my father's head. He roared with laughter, triumphant. There were his goons, other patients, their families, nurses, doctors, all watching. Their faces were a mixture of contempt, pity, disgust, and sympathy. My dad, under all those staring eyes, gathered every last bill and put it back in the briefcase, thanking Sterling over and over. He was thanking him. I couldn't get out of bed. All I could do was scream. My dad heard me and came running back into the room. He's my enemy. I yelled, my voice raw with anguish. Why would you do that? Why? He tried to calm me down. Ethan, we need the money right now. Your pride isn't worth anything. The words died in my throat. That was my father, a man who never stood up for himself, a man with no fight in him. He'd started working in construction right out of high school. By the time he was 32, he had silicosis. It was only stage 2, but it meant no more heavy labor. With no education, he couldn't find a decent job. He wasn't just broke, he was a constant medical expense. Our life got worse and worse. until my mom couldn't take the poverty anymore. She ran off with our neighbor, Mr. Wallace. At least she didn't take any of our money. She even left $1,000 on the table, probably from him. Seeing me silent, my dad must have thought I was ashamed for him. He said, "There's justice in this world, son. People who do bad things always get punished in the end." Punished? I slammed my fist onto the bedside table. Did Mom get punished? I screamed. Did Mr. Wallace get punished? You're always talking about justice, but where the hell is it? That asshole Sterling is powerful, so everyone kisses his ass. I'm weak, so you all tell me I'm the one who's being stubborn. He destroyed my marriage. He cost me my job. He crippled me. And now I have nothing. Where's the justice in that? My dad's mouth opened, but no words came out. A deep, burning hatred for everything began to smolder inside me. My eyes were bloodshot with rage. Dad, there is no justice. There's only power. But I won't accept it. I'm going to fight him. I'm not going to be like you. I won't be a coward my whole life. In an instant, my father seemed to shrink to age 10 years right before my eyes. Okay, son. You get some rest. I'm going to go home and change my oxygen tank. He told me to take care of myself and quietly left the room. Seven lying in bed. I was already regretting my harsh words. Raising me hadn't been easy for him. I shouldn't have said that. But still, as he left, I thought I saw a strange light flash in his eyes. Maybe I was just imagining it. I thought about Sterling, and Lily, and Vince. My mind was a chaotic mess, and I eventually drifted off to sleep. I don't know how long I was out when a sudden ringing woke me. It was my dad. A video call. Why a video call? I answered confused. The screen was dark, but I could make out a familiar shape. It was Lily. She looked terrified. Before I could say anything, she started sobbing. "Ethan, oh God, your dad, he's lost his mind. You have to talk him down." The camera flipped around, and the image brightened. My heart stopped. I saw my dad, a steel pipe in his hand, pinning Ryan Sterling to the ground. The camera was shaking violently. I could hear Lily's voice from off-screen. "Sir, please don't do anything crazy. This is all my fault. If you're going to blame someone, blame me. We can still fix this. Please don't hurt Ryan. Ethan is watching. He doesn't want to see you go to prison." Sterling's face was a mask of pure terror. My dad looked up, as if he could see me through the phone screen. He gave a slow, deliberate nod. Then he raised the pipe and brought it down, shattering one of Sterling's legs. Sterling howled in pain a few times, then went limp like a dead dog, whimpering and clutching his mangled leg. Clang! My dad tossed the pipe aside. A faint smile touched his worn face. "Ethan, I got your revenge for you." From off camera, I could hear the sound of running footsteps and a distant wail of sirens. My dad looked around, and a look of grim determination settled on his face. A cold dread washed over me. I had a terrible feeling about what was coming next. He looked back into the camera, his voice clear and steady. "I'm not coming back from this one, son. You have to live a good life. I'll be watching over you from heaven." He walked toward the edge of the platform. Only then did I realize where they were. The unfinished floor of a skyscraper under construction. There were no guardrails. He turned back one last time and grinned, a wide, proud grin. "Ethan, you're a good man. I've always been proud of you." Over Lily's horrified scream, he stepped off the edge and disappeared from the camera's view. A moment later, I heard the sickening thud of something heavy hitting the ground far below. The only son of the New York Sterling family had been kidnapped and assaulted. The story blew up. The next day, the internet trolls found my dad. They painted him as a monster, plastering his photo everywhere with vicious labels. Violent thug, unemployed bum, filthy lowlife. A desperate old man saw a chance for a big score and targeted the young Mr. Sterling, who was just visiting our city. They smeared his name to make Ryan Sterling look like a victim. But my name was never mentioned. Sterling didn't want the world to know he'd been messing with another man's wife. I refused the surgery. I didn't spend a single cent of the $50,000 my father had bought with his dignity. The day I was discharged, I limped my way home. I packed up all of Lily's things in boxes and threw them out on the street. She never came home. After a few days, the sanitation workers hauled the boxes away. One day, Vince showed up at my door. He wanted me to come back to work. Lily had quit, and the team lead position was open again. "Ethan, the company knows you got a raw deal. Come on back, man." I punched him in the face and shoved him out the door. You have the nerve to show your face here? Get the hell out. I slammed the door in his face. A little while later, there was another knock. I ignored it, but just kept coming. Vince, for the last time, piss off. I yanked the door open. It wasn't Vince. It was Lily. I hadn't seen her in weeks. She looked frail and exhausted. What do you want? You're not welcome here. A sad smile touched her lips. I'm going to New York with Ryan. I was stunned for a second. Looks like he really can't live without you. Lily's voice was barely a whisper. What happened with your dad? He holds a grudge against you now. He offered me a job as his assistant. It's just to humiliate you. Her eyes pleaded with me. Ethan, if you just forgive me, I'll stay. I'll spend the rest of my life taking care of you. I swear. That's never going to happen, I said coldly. We are getting a divorce. If I forgave Lily, what will my father's death mean? What will my life mean? Maybe she saw the finality in my eyes, or maybe my father's death had finally shown her the truth. She understood it was really over. If you don't want me, then I can't stay in Cleveland anymore, she said, her voice hollow. I'm just a woman with no home. All I can do now is try to survive. She agreed to the divorce. We did it that day. As we walked out of the courthouse, Lily grabbed me from behind, hugging me tightly. Ethan, I messed up so badly. In the next life, I'll do anything to make it up to you. I pulled her arms off me and walked away. I didn't look back. The days without a job blurred together. At night, I found solace in a bottle of whiskey. During the day, I lost myself in revenge thrillers, devouring stories about badass heroes who never backed down. The villains were just lambs to the slaughter. It felt so good. God, it felt so good. But I was a coward. My father was dead. My wife was gone. He took everything from me. And I was not a man. 9 sunlight streamed through the window, painting a bright square on the floor. I blinked my eyes open. There was a figure standing in the room. She slowly turned around. When I saw her face, my eyes went wide. It was my mother. She was back. I slapped my own face hard and shook my head until the room swam. This wasn't a dream. She said she was surprised the key still worked after more than a decade. Of course it did. My dad had held on to this old apartment, never even changing the locks. He'd waited his whole life for her, but she never came. He dies, and suddenly, here she is. The world is a cruel joke. Did you hate him that much? I asked, my voice thick with resentment. Her eyes reddened. She said she was sorry about my dad, that she'd come back to the States as soon as she heard what happened. Warren and I came back together, she said. We want to take you with us. She told me she felt guilty, that she'd never had any other children. Warren loved her, she said, and never pushed the issue. In the blink of an eye, they were both in their 50s. Son, come home with me. Life is so much better overseas. I'll make everything up to you. Do I still have a home? I hated her, but when I thought of my dad, I couldn't bring myself to say the word. I looked around at the stained, peeling walls of the apartment, then back at the woman who gave birth to me. She was dressed in expensive clothes. Time hadn't managed to erase her beauty. Compared to my dad, they looked like they were from 2 different worlds. My mother reminded me of Ryan Sterling. They had the same aura about them, and I had my father's. I refused to go with her. I sold the old apartment for pennies on the dollar. Because I was leaving too, I was in New York. To finish my story, 10 at the train station, a Maybach pulled up in front of me, blocking the entrance 20 yards away. The tinted window rolled down, and a middle-aged man leaned out. Get in the car. I hadn't seen him in over a decade, but I recognized him instantly. Warren Hayes. I despised this man. I walked around the car and headed for the station entrance. I heard him shout from behind me. Just give me 5 minutes. Are you afraid of me? Afraid of you? Hell no. Rage surging, I turned around, yanked open the car door, and got in. You have something to say? Spit it out. Don't worry, he said. Your mother and I are leaving, too. Our flight is this afternoon. I said nothing. He hit the gas, and the Maybach peeled away from the curb. What are you doing? I have a train to catch. Just a short drive. Warren brought up the past, admitting he'd been wrong. If it weren't for me, maybe your parents wouldn't have divorced, he said, his eyes on the road. But they would have been miserable together. His words made me think of Lily. She'd said she loved me, but she was secretly trying to please Ryan Sterling. If I never made enough money to buy that new house, would she have run off with someone else, just like my mom? Maybe that's all love is, a negotiation with reality. I know about what happened, he said. You're going to New York to find that kid, aren't you? That's none of your business. Huh, Even if it is, I'm not going to stop you. After he has you killed, I'll bring your ashes back and bury you next to your father." I just stared at him. Warren's tone shifted. But what will he have lost? Will he have learned his lesson? "You die, and the Miller family line ends." I remained silent. He glanced at me out of the corner of his eye. "You can't touch the Sterling family." "But I can." I knew he wasn't bluffing. A man who drives a Maybach doesn't need to. "So what's the deal? You come abroad with me, study for 3 years, and then you can come back and settle the score yourself." I was suspicious. "What's in it for you?" A wry smile touched his lips. "Your mother misses you terribly. Having you around would make her happy." And then it clicked. He was completely whipped. He chuckled. "Don't you dare look down on me, kid. Going to New York by yourself to throw your life away? That's not courage, it's foolishness. A real man thinks long-term. When you're standing at the top of the mountain, your perspective changes." Warren slammed on the brakes, the Maybach screeching to a halt at an intersection. He pointed ahead. "Turn left, you go to the train station. Turn right, you go to the airport." What's it going to be? An image of my father's last moments flashed in my mind. He was watching me from somewhere. I looked up at the sky. It was so blue. "Dad, the world isn't fair. I can't live with this shame. I will have my revenge." Right. 3 years later. New York City. Stepping onto American soil again, I now carried a cane. Looking back in the direction of Cleveland felt like looking into another life. "Ethan, the air here is amazing." "There's nothing like home," said the young man next to me. This was Leo, my new assistant, barely in his 20s. He was tall, with sharp, handsome features, though there was a soft, androgynous quality to him. In his other life, he was a famous cross-dressing influencer with millions of devoted followers. I brought him here to be the blade in my hand. As we exited the airport, a crowd of people rushed to greet us. They'd been waiting for some time, their attitudes a mixture of eagerness and deference. At the front were representatives from New York's 4 great financial dynasties: the Sterlings, the Prestons, the Sullivans, and the Lees. The market was tough, and business was slow. Ostensibly, I had returned with a $10 billion fund from Warren's investment group, looking for new projects. The news had been circulating in New York's business circles for weeks, and they were all scrambling for a piece of the pie. "Mr. Miller, welcome. It must have been a long flight. I'm from the Preston family." "It's an honor to meet you," said a man in a bespoke suit, bowing deeply. "Mr. Miller, I represent the Lee family." "Here is my card," said a man with graying hair, offering his card with both hands. The Sullivan family representative chimed in, opening a gift box. Inside was an incredibly rare bottle of whiskey, a small token from our chairman. "Please accept it." I accepted their gifts graciously. Others rushed forward with their own offerings. Then a tall, stunning woman in a tight silk dress stepped forward. Her red lips parted. "The Sterling family has booked a suite at the hotel. We would be honored to host a welcome dinner for you this evening." At the sight of her, the crowd fell silent. She had captivating eyes and a slender waist. Everything about her exuded a sophisticated, alluring charm. At the hotel restaurant, the dinner was a whirlwind of toasts and flattery. I told them that business was about mutual benefit, that there would be enough for everyone. "But the pie can't be divided equally," I said, letting the words hang in the air. "It will depend on your contributions." They understood. One by one, they laid their cards on the table. The offers from the Prestons, Sullivans, and Lees were substantial. But the Sterling family's offer was the most impressive. The woman in the silk dress, Isabel Sterling, presented a major real estate project in the city's South District. She offered me a 70% stake, asking only for my capital injection. I happily accepted. After the dinner party broke up, I asked her to stay behind. "Mr. Miller, you are a remarkable man. I believe Mr. Hayes can finally enjoy a peaceful retirement," Isabel said, her beautiful eyes sparkling. She was Ryan Sterling's mother. Her husband had died young, and her father-in-law, Arthur Sterling, was getting old and losing his edge. Her own son was a good-for-nothing hedonist, so the burden of the family had fallen on her shoulders. Fortunately, Isabel was a shrewd and capable businesswoman. She had more than held her own, earning the nickname the Sterling Dame in business circles. This mature, powerful woman was the key to my revenge. "Mr. Miller, you asked me to stay. Is there something more you require?" she asked, a slight frown on her brow. She knew my investment wouldn't come cheap and was bracing for an outrageous demand. I smiled. I was hoping you would accompany me for a walk. Oh, the request clearly surprised her. Then she gave a self-deprecating laugh. I'm a bit old for that, Mr. Miller. Shouldn't you be asking a younger woman? You're only 40, the prime of a woman's life. What do those young girls have compared to your elegance? My compliments brought a light blush to her cheeks and a genuine smile to her lips. The way she looked at me softened. Very well, then. I would be delighted to take a walk with you, Mr. Miller. We strolled through the city streets, discovering we shared many of the same views on life and business. It felt like we could talk forever. Under the warm glow of the streetlights, our shadows stretched out, eventually merging into one. 12. The next day, I called and invited her to the movies. She hesitated. Oh, are you busy? That's a shame. I saw the trailer for this film and thought of you immediately. My words piqued her curiosity, and she eventually agreed. The movie was about a single mother raising her son, struggling to make ends meet until she finds true love and her family finally finds happiness. The plot was cliché, but for Isabel, it hit close to home. Her husband had died young, and she had raised Ryan all by herself. It was because he was all she had left of her husband that she'd spoiled him rotten, turning him into the arrogant monster he was today. I hinted that perhaps it was time for her to find a new partner. Isabel sighed, saying she was too old, that her options were limited, and besides, she had high standards. What about me? I asked. I held up my fingers and counted them off. 1, I'm young. 2, I'm successful. 3, I'm wealthy. Do I meet your requirements? Isabel shot me a playful look. Are you just after my body? I chuckled. You don't understand. For a beautiful woman, that's the highest form of respect. She burst into peals of silvery laughter, completely charmed. After our very pleasant date, Ryan Sterling ran into some trouble. He was at a club and met a tall, gorgeous girl who went by the name Aura. He got into a fight with another guy over her. The other guy knew how to throw a punch, and Ryan got the worst of it. Both of them ended up at the police station. Just as Isabel arrived to post his bail, a group of 17 or 18 burly men stormed into the precinct. Every one of them started yelling at Ryan, accusing him of wrecking their homes and demanding compensation. Your son was hitting on my wife. What do you have to say about that? Your son climbed through my bedroom window last night. My old lady can barely walk today. Even our prize-winning So wasn't safe. Isabel nearly fainted from rage, looking at her son with utter disappointment. Ryan was frantic. I don't know any of these people. Mom, don't listen to them. They're lying. You won't even own up to it? You're a coward. Yeah, we have no respect for you. The men all flipped Ryan the bird. The situation was a PR nightmare. Isabel had no choice but to pay them off. Each man walked away with $10,000. The sow's owner got an extra $2,000 for emotional distress and breeding disruption. The story was so bizarre that it spread like wildfire through New York's elite circles. Ryan Sterling became a household name for all the wrong reasons. Ethan, this Ryan kid, is a total moron. All I had to do was bat my eyes, and he was eating out of my hand, Leo reported back to me, shaking his head. He was always an idiot. I closed the file on the Sterling family. It was time for the next phase. On a dark and stormy night, I confessed my love to Isabel. Faced with my directness, she blushed, telling me she didn't have feelings for younger men. I countered, is it because I'm a cripple? Of course not. It's just, the age gap is too large. It wouldn't be right. You feel for me, and I feel for you, I said, taking her hand and gazing into her eyes. Seeing a woman like you carry such a heavy burden all alone, it tortures my soul. She wavered. But my age. I cut her off. To hell with what other people think. Then my tone shifted. You know what they say, an older woman is a treasure. By my count, I'm getting 4 treasures. I'd say I'm the one making out like a bandit here. Isabel laughed. You have such a silver tongue. You're too charming. My other parts are even more impressive, I whispered. You won't be able to get enough. I pulled her into my arms. She struggled for a moment, then melted against me. The rest was unspoken. At that exact moment, Ryan Sterling was taking a piss in an alley when a flower pot fell from a window above and cracked him on the head. His bodyguards rushed him to the hospital. Damn it. He lay in a hospital bed, his head wrapped in so much gauze he looked like a mummy. Damn it all to hell. Ryan cursed under his breath. The last few weeks had been a string of disasters. First the beating, then being framed by those hicks. And now a random flower pot? It didn't make any sense. The more he thought about it, the angrier he got. He pulled out his phone and dialed a number. The contact name read Lily Davis. Get over here. Now, I'm in a really bad mood. 13, I was invited to a major business gala in New York, a gathering of the city's elite. The moment Isabel and I walked in together, arm in arm, a wave of knowing smirks and whispers rippled through the room. The sterling dame certainly knows how to play the game. He's still so young. He never stood a chance against a woman like her. They whispered among themselves, assuming the Sterling family had won the grand prize. They had no idea that the hunter was about to become the prey. The Sterlings were the prize. Isabel, feeling the heat of their stares, gracefully separated from me to mingle. I was about to find a quiet corner when I ran right into Ryan Sterling and Lily. They both looked at me as if they'd seen a ghost. What the hell are you doing here? Ryan demanded. Lily's expression was a complicated mess. She didn't know what to say. Before I could answer, Ryan started yelling for security. This man doesn't belong here. He must have snuck in. Get him out of here now. The entire ballroom went silent. Hundreds of eyes turned to us. Just as the security guards were about to move on me, 3 voices cut through the silence. Mr. Miller is tonight's guest of honor. You will show him respect. Ryan, you little brat. You have no idea who you're messing with. This is absurd. The heads of the Preston, Sullivan, and Lee families stepped forward and tore into Ryan. You're the investor from overseas? Ryan stumbled back, his face a mask of shock. He'd assumed it was just someone with the same name. He never would have imagined it was me. In fact, my name was just a vague memory to him, something he'd only heard Lily mention a couple of times. Ethan Miller, he hissed through clenched teeth. So what if you're an investor? He aggressively pulled Lily into his arms and kissed her right in front of me. A smirk played on my lips. Are you trying to get a rise out of me? Before he could answer, I had pulled Lily over to my side. Ms. Davis, I said, my voice smooth as silk. Would you keep me company tonight? I'm afraid of sleeping alone. Lily looked horrified, her face flushing a deep, painful red. Ethan, Mr. Miller, I don't think that's a good idea. My brow furrowed. You can keep him company, but not me? Or are you saying I'm not good enough for you? A collective gasp went through the crowd. My words were like knives, slicing away what little dignity she had left. Lily was so flustered she couldn't even form a sentence. Just then, Isabel returned to our side. Ryan immediately ran to her, tattling like a child, telling her that Lily was my ex-wife. Mom, it was this guy's dad who kidnapped me back in Cleveland. I had to laugh. Ryan was an idiot. A woman like Isabel would have already run a complete background check on me. Slap. Before Ryan could say another word, Isabel slapped him hard across the face. Mr. Miller is an honored guest of our family. You will apologize to him this instant. Ryan looked like he was about to cry, but he stubbornly refused. Seeing the standoff, Lily tried to step in and defend him. She was rewarded with a sharp slap from Isabel. You are nothing but my son's plaything. A toy does not get to speak. Isabel waved her arm dismissively, and the security guards dragged a stunned Lily out of the ballroom. I applauded slowly. You really have a knack for picking up trash, Ryan. I said, my voice dripping with sarcasm. Is your head really as empty as it looks? Ryan slammed his fist on a table. And who the hell do you think you are, Ethan? I bellowed. I'm your new dad. Shit. Ryan grabbed a chair to swing at me, but Isabel blocked him, slapping him again for good measure. You will not treat your Uncle Ethan that way. Ryan staggered back, looking from Isabel to me, his eyes wide with disbelief. I knew exactly what he was thinking. I walked over and leaned in close. Tonight, I whispered in his ear, I'm raiding the enemy's spawn point. Uffed. Ryan clutched his chest and sprayed a mouthful of blood onto the marble floor. 14 Ryan could not accept his mother getting a new dad for him. Ethan is my sworn enemy. He's not going to let me off the hook. Mom, don't be blinded by love. But he didn't understand. I held all the cards now, and Isabel wouldn't dare tear up our alliance. Besides, I treated her very well. Unable to convince his mother, Ryan felt a dark cloud descend over his life. He started frequenting bars, trying to drink away his problems. And then he ran into Aura again. Aura was tall and gorgeous, with legs that went on for days. She had already captured Ryan's heart. When she casually mentioned, "My Aura acolytes are all such kind, sweet boys," he felt the magic of love and willingly became one of her devoted followers. "All right then, I'll give you a little reward," Aura said, agreeing to date Ryan for one day. "Just today, mind you. We'll see how you perform." She bragged that her previous acolytes were all studs. This put a lot of pressure on Ryan. Then his eyes caught a sign in a pharmacy window, "Viagra now in stock." It was a sign from the heavens. He immediately bought a box. Aura saw him with it, and he was so embarrassed he wanted the ground to swallow him whole. She just pouted. "What's an acolyte got to be shy about? My XXX-boyfriend used to take 6 at a time." She held up 6 fingers. "S6. Ryan stammered. "What? You've never tried?" she asked, her tone implying that taking any less was for wimps. Goated and confused, Ryan swallowed 8 pills at once. Less than 2 minutes later, his eyes were bloodshot. Aura quickly led him to a hotel. "Acolyte, you go take a shower first." As soon as Ryan was in the bathroom, she slammed the door. Click. Aura locked it from the outside and fled like the wind. When Ryan came out of the shower, he found himself locked in, but the train had already left the station. Fueled by a surge of pharmaceutical power, he unleashed a shocking amount of energy. Crash! The kid actually broke down the door. A cleaning lady happened to be passing by. Ryan grabbed her. "Please, you have to help me." The woman had been a farmhand in her youth. She wasn't about to be pushed around. "Back off, you little punk." She threw a punch. It landed right in his overloaded groin. A sound like a chicken's crow and an egg cracking echoed through the hall. Ryan foamed at the mouth and collapsed, twitching on the floor like a dead dog. He was completely and utterly ruined. His own son was gone, and now his grandson was useless. When the old man, Arthur Sterling, heard the news, he lamented, "Heaven is determined to destroy the Sterling family. I took the opportunity to offer to marry into the family. The first child we have will take the Sterling name." Arthur was stunned, a complex mix of emotions playing on his face. I took Isabel's hand and swore a solemn oath. "From now on, the Sterling family is my family, and I am your son." Isabel blushed and looked down. "I can still have children," she whispered. Thump! Arthur Sterling sank into his chair, a look of resignation on his face. "So be it. Get to work on the next generation." 15 Isabel and I decided to have a small wedding reception. My mother and Warren flew in for it. When my mother saw her new daughter-in-law, her face immediately darkened. Warren just stood there sheepishly, looking as confused as she was. Isabel, all smiles, walked up and took my mother's arm. "Mother, if you think I'm too old for him, we can have a different arrangement. I'll call you Mom, and you can call me Sis. How about that?" My mother looked like she was about to have a stroke. Thankfully, Warren was there to steady her. She rubbed her temples, muttering, "What have I done? What have I done?" Since it was a second marriage for both of us, we didn't bother with a big ceremony. We just invited about 20 tables of friends and family for a huge feast. Isabel hadn't seen her college friends in ages. She hitched up her dress, planted a foot on a chair, and started a drinking game. 1, 5, 10. 5. 1, 5, 10. 10. You lose. Drink. Watching this, my mother grew even more distressed. Suddenly, Ryan Sterling burst into the banquet hall. "Mom, Ethan is my enemy. How could you marry him?" Before I could say a word, Isabel slapped him across the face again. He fell to the floor, and I took the opportunity to land a couple of kicks. "Ethan, you son of a bitch." Thump. Isabel kicked him too. Maybe because my mother was watching, she put extra force into it. "He may not be your biological father, but he is your father now. Show some respect." I pulled Isabel back and gave Leo a nod. He immediately had his men grab Ryan and haul him off to the bathroom. Seeing Leo, Ryan looked confused. You look familiar." "Nope." Leo's men dumped Ryan next to a toilet. There were 2 massive, unflushed turds in the bowl. The stench was so bad it made Ryan's eyes water. He couldn't take it. "Get me out of here. This smell is killing me," he screamed. "Hey, anybody there? Hey, Ethan, I hope you die a horrible death." One moment he was cursing me, The next he was cursing whoever hadn't flushed. Who the hell doesn't flush a toilet? No decency. He screamed nonstop for 5 minutes, until he heard footsteps. Clack, clack, clack. Leo walked in holding a shovel, tissues stuffed up his nostrils. He walked over to the toilet. Your mouth seems to be running a little wild. Here, have a snack. With one swift motion, he used the shovel to knock Ryan headfirst into the toilet bowl. Ryan's hands were tied behind his back. His entire face was plunged into the foul mess. The nauseating stench flooded his senses, a torment worse than death. He lifted his head, gagging and sputtering, trying to spit out the filth. But Leo just scooped up another load and shoved it in his mouth. You bastard. Blub, blub, blub. Ryan started to cry, fat, ugly tears rolling down his cheeks. He felt so unclean. Wawa. Meanwhile, I was sitting on a plush sofa, sipping a glass of red wine. Through a pinhole camera on Leo's lapel, I watched Ryan's humiliation unfold. The once untouchable young master was nothing but a pathetic clown, but his suffering had only just begun. 16 after the reception, I let Ryan go. He went home and gargled with mouthwash 10 times. Then he called over the blonde punk, the same one who had broken my leg 3 years ago. Blondie, I want you to take care of Ethan Miller. He threw a stack of cash on the table. After it's done, lay low for a while. This $100,000 should be enough to keep you comfortable. The punk's eye twitched. He'd just gotten out of prison. He wasn't eager to go back for a murder rap. Besides, he knew I was a different person now, not someone he could mess with. So he pretended to agree, took the money, and ran. But my people were already watching him. Before he could even get out of the city, Leo caught him. One blow to the head, and he was on a cargo plane Thailand. There, a shaman hammered a soul-eating nail into his skull and used his brain matter to feed poisonous insects for a curse. When Leo sent me the video, I saw the shaman squatting by an altar, chanting Ooga Booga, Abracadabra. It reminded me of some cheesy old horror movie, and I doubted it would actually work. Whatever. I told Leo to take a picture of the punk's dead body and send it to Ryan, just to rattle him. After the wedding, Isabel actually got pregnant. While she rested at home, I used the opportunity to take control of most of the Sterling family's businesses, launching several new expansion projects. Arthur Sterling was all smiles these days. He'd completely stepped back from the business, seemingly just waiting to hold his new grandchild. On the surface, he was warm and supportive, constantly praising my business acumen and saying he could rest easy with the family in my hands. But behind the scenes, he was plotting. I discovered he had a mistress, and she was also pregnant. Ryan was a failure, so the old man had decided to sow some new seeds himself. These old money families were obsessed with bloodlines. There was no way they would let my child inherit their fortune. Right now, they were just using my $10 billion fund to grow their empire. The old fox held onto his equity like a lifeline. But I wasn't a fool. I was going to leave him with nothing. 17, seeing the photo of the blonde punk, Ryan became paranoid and fearful. He started taking his anger out on Lily, beating and cursing her daily. This is all your fault, you bitch. I never would have gotten mixed up with Ethan if it wasn't for you. You're a curse. But you forced me, Lily would whimper. She had swallowed her pride and stayed with him to survive, but he treated her like garbage, a human punching bag. She found herself thinking about the good times with me, and her heart filled with hatred for Ryan. The bar. Aura appeared again. Ryan scowled. Where did you run off to last time? Oh, sweetie, I ran into 3 of my acolytes working at the hotel. If they saw you with me, they would have been so jealous. They might have killed you. You have to understand, my acolytes get very possessive. Ryan thought about it. It made sense. She was just looking out for him. The darkness in his heart lifted. Aura, you're a good person. Here, let me buy you a drink. After a few drinks, Ryan poured out all his troubles. I just wish that baby wasn't happening. Aura leaned inconspiratorially. Once your mom gives birth, it'll be too late. Why not? Arrange a little accident. Is that okay? Ryan hesitated. After all, it was his mother. Silly, Aura said with a roll of her eyes. Your target is the baby in her belly, not your mom. She whispered her plan. He would hire a driver to ram Isabel's car. But at the last second, the driver would swerve, just grazing it. No one would get hurt. Pregnant women are fragile. A good scare is all it takes. The baby will be gone. Ryan slapped his thigh. That could work. And the perfect person for the job was Lily. It was a way to kill two birds with one stone, a final, twisted way to get back at me. The thought of his ex-wife getting rid of my unborn child thrilled him. Thrilled him. That day, he called Lily, using a combination of threats and promises. Get this done, and I'll give you $1 million. Then you can get the hell out of my life. $1 million. Lily was tempted. If something happens to Isabel, will Ethan take me back? She saw an opportunity and decided to do it. But the moment Lily stepped on the gas, she sealed her fate. An SUV came out of nowhere, T-boning her car and sending it flipping over. Lily was left paralyzed from the waist down. She was sent to a long-term care facility. With no feeling in the lower half of her body, she needed a nurse for even the most basic things. Ryan never visited her. She begged me to come see her for old time's sake. Ethan, I hate myself for being so weak. It cost me my family. It cost me you. Please, you have to believe me. You were the only man I ever truly loved. I gave a scornful laugh, and I regret every single moment. You were never a good woman, Lily. If there's a next life, I hope we never meet. Lily gave Ryan up, providing me with a recording she'd secretly made as evidence. She'd been afraid he would renege on the payment. When Isabel heard the recording, her last bit of love for her son died. I comforted her, telling her we needed to find a place for Ryan to settle down. Once a man gets married, he develops a sense of responsibility. It'll help him grow up. Oh, do you have someone in mind? Isabel asked. What about Tiffany Lee from the Lee family? The 300-pound Tiffany Lee was a perfect match. The Sterling and Lee families were of equal status. It was a match made in heaven. Isabel agreed. She gave her son an ultimatum: marry into the Lee family or go to prison. Ryan had no choice. On their wedding night, the entire Lee mansion could hear the groom screaming for his life. Tiffany, get away from me. Don't come over here. After one night of wedded bliss, Tiffany Lee discovered her new husband was useless. Furious, she tried to pawn him off on the daughter of the Preston family. You dare insult me? I'll tell my mother. Ryan shrieked. He refused to go. Marrying into the family was humiliating enough. Was he now to be passed around like a party favor? Huh. Your mother is busy getting ready for baby number 2. You think she has time for a loser like you? With one meaty hand, she picked Ryan up and delivered him to the Prestons. But Miss Preston found him boring and passed him along to the Sullivan's daughter. The spoiled children of these wealthy families had their own twisted games. The 3 women were regulars at a club where they'd order male models. Miss Sullivan looked Ryan up and down and declared him too ugly to touch. She sent him right back to the lease. Tiffany, she said, Ryan is a dud. I think you should just divorce him. The fat on Tiffany's face bunched up, her expression turning to ice. A divorce would be a disgrace. How could she ever show her face in New York society again? You are nothing but trouble, she roared at Ryan. She raised her thick, heavy hand. Slap, slap, slap. She backhanded him until his face was swollen like a balloon. From now on, it's ginseng with every meal and goji berries in your water. If that doesn't work, we'll have you put down. Ryan Sterling, the man who loved to play with women, had now become a woman's plaything. That was justice. 19 finally, 3 months later, Ryan was kicked out of the Lee family home. I stood on a hill overlooking the city, waiting. The wind was cool tonight. The view from this spot was even better than the one back in Cleveland. Around midnight, a car drove up. Ryan, a sack over his head, was dragged out. The moment he saw me, he knew it was over. Ethan, hiding behind your goons doesn't make you tough. You want to fight? Let's go one-on-one, he screamed, trying to mask the terror in his voice. I rubbed my right leg. I could feel a dull ache in a bone. It was probably going to rain. Ryan, I remember screaming just like that, helpless and furious. But you never gave me a chance. But I said, my voice dangerously calm, I'm going to give you one. I took a single die from my pocket and placed it in front of him. We roll for high number. You lose, I break one of your limbs. You win, I let you go. Deal. He had no choice. He snatched the die and threw it. It tumbled a few times and landed on a 4. I rolled a 2. He was ecstatic. You lose. You have to let me go. You promised. I picked up the die and rolled again. It came up a 5. I never said it was just one roll. I said calmly. His eyes bulged. Then how many rounds? A chilling smile spread across my face. We play until all 5 of your limbs are broken. That's not fair, he shrieked. You never gave me fair. He was on the verge of a complete breakdown, tearing at his hair. No, please don't do this. I admit it, you're my dad. I'm your son, he sobbed. Please, just let me go, okay? I patted his head like he was a dog, my voice as cold as the grave. Then get on your knees and beg me, just like my father begged you. The words hung in the air like a death sentence, and the last bit of color drained from Ryan Sterling's face. 20 Isabel's baby was born. A boy. He looked like me. Arthur Sterling's health was failing, but his eyes were bright, his spirit seemingly stronger than ever. I knew his mistress's baby had also been born. He was clinging to that hope. So be it. I threw a paternity test report on the table in front of him. That woman's child is mine. I smiled. Oh, and by the way, I added, those internet trolls who slandered my father 3 years ago. That was you, wasn't it? Before he could react, a hammer crashed into the back of his skull. Blood splattered across my Armani suit. I took off my jacket and wiped the blood from my face. Next time, give me a heads up, I said to Leo. Don't swing so close to me. Leo just grinned and put the hammer down as his men dragged the body away. Ethan, that shaman wasn't very effective. We still had to take care of this old goat ourselves. Then you can be the one to tell Warren. He's the one who recommended him. Leo stuck out his tongue and immediately backed down. No way. I'm not scared of you, but I'm scared of him. Epilogue, Lily's perspective. My ex-husband said he found me a companion, someone who could stay with me for the rest of my life. The day Ryan Sterling arrived, his mouth never stopped moving. He cursed the heavens. He cursed the earth. He cursed Ethan. He cursed me. Finally, he even cursed his own mother. But his body was like a broken doll, his arms and legs twisted and useless, lying limply on the bed. Sometimes he would try to move, but no matter how hard he struggled, he couldn't do anything. He was a broken man. Later, we heard that Arthur Sterling had died suddenly. His will left the entire family business under Ethan's management to be passed down to his grandson when he came of age. But Ethan's son was named Ethan Jr. He hoped his son would grow up to be a brave man. The Sterling family was no more. The most powerful family in New York was now named Miller. Epilogue, Vince's perspective. Corporate sent me to New York on a business trip. They said a major player wanted to see me. I followed the address to a long-term care facility and found Ethan Miller waiting for me. He had changed completely. There was a quiet, unshakable power about him, an aura of someone who had seen the world and bent it to his will. It was more intimidating than anyone I had ever met. So, he was the one who wanted to see me. I immediately humbled myself, congratulating him on his success, saying we should let bygones be bygones. He led me into a room. There were only 2 beds inside, no other furniture. I looked at the people lying on the beds and gasped. It was Ryan Sterling and Lily. A cold voice spoke next to my ear. Vince, I got my justice. Thump. I dropped to my knees and bowed my head to the floor, apologizing and begging for forgiveness. Ethan, I had no choice back then. I'm just a little guy. I was powerless. A month later, the Miller family acquired my insurance firm. My boss told me I was fired. He also said that anyone who hired me would be making an enemy of the Millers. Epilogue, Ethan Miller's confession, 20 years later. Young people always think they're going to achieve something great. It's only when they get older that they realize how hard that is. Just managing to stay true to yourself, to not be changed by this world. That, in itself, is a great achievement. End.